Alright guys, good evening. I hope everybody is well. I know it's been a long time. It is Saturday, July 21st, 2018. Hope everybody's doing great. For those here in the northern hemisphere, hope you're having a great summer. And just want to make a video here, and again I apologize about being absent for so long. I know that doesn't help my channel at all in terms of building viewerships or anything, but I just don't find a lot of time to do these. But I did want to do one, just a quick review from a few trades last week and what's going on right now, and maybe a quick look ahead for next week. So I'll jump right in here and just go right to this first one. This is the Kiwi yen, and you can see this is the daily chart. We've had this pretty strong downtrend that is being respected. This pair has a lot of throw over, as you can see, where it pokes through and gives a lot of false breakouts. It does it pretty much every time, and I got caught up in one of those too this week. So if you go down here, we had what I took here as an ABC correction. This was after some Kiwi news where it shot up, and during the Asian session there was some pretty positive Kiwi New Zealand dollar news. And then the market came down. I took this as an ABC and it went back up, so I thought this was the breakout and was going to keep going, but it didn't. And really all this was just another throwover event where the market just poked through here and then just continued to sell off. So as you can see, this is where I got into the trade, and this is where I closed it or stopped out. I forget which, but it doesn't matter. And it's a good thing I did. As you can see, it kept going down. So then basically how I looked at it after that was that this downtrend was going to continue, and I didn't see, I wasn't really watching this pair so too much. So as it came down here, I really wasn't paying much attention, but when I saw it kind of bottom out here and correct back up, I said, okay, well, this might be an opportunity to get back in short. And so on the lower time frame, this definitely looked very corrective, so I did get back in short. And this is my initial profit target right here, although I wouldn't be at all surprised if this keeps going and maybe even re-challenges this lower trend line again that shows on the daily, because we are making lower lows, and until that has broken, you know, this market could continue down. So I am in short right now, but I did want to show you, you know, that bad trade too. Let's go over to the US Canadian. So US Canadian, this was on the positive US dollar CPI news, I believe it was, last week. I actually had two trades on here. I got out on one here and the other one up here, and then the market did sell off. As you can see, it did continue back up, and then it fell hard again. This really was on a lot of the Fed chairman. You know, his testimony before Congress was kind of neutral. And then President Trump was kind of lamenting the fact that there might be more rate hikes, you know, with the economy doing so well. So the market got a little sour and sold off here. And you can see where we're sitting right now, right at this trend line again. And so I do expect another bounce here. I'm looking at this on the daily as a big 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe another 5 up. So that's why I have this arrow drawn here, and I would expect that if we get a little follow through buying here, as long as I don't see a close below this trend line, that I may look to get back into this long again and potentially look for a move back up to at least this high up here. So I will be keeping an eye on that one for sure this week. Let's see what else I want to show you. Pound US dollar. So you know, with this one, this really was a technical trade. You can see on the daily chart we had this move down, and this, from an Elliot Wave standpoint, you know, could potentially be an ending diagonal. An ending diagonal in Elliot Wave is basically like a move that's kind of like the last part of a move before a sharp reversal. And that's how I kind of looked at this. And the waves can overlap, which normally is not allowed in an impulsive wave at Elliott, but it is allowed in a diagonal. So I kind of looked at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we got back up. And when I saw it bounce off this lower trend line, I waited for some price action confirmation, and I took that up. So this is where I got in right here. I waited for a break above this high, and here is where we sit now. And I do have a profit target up here, back near the trend line again. And so I'll be looking at the fundamentals for this to make sure. The British pound has been a little sour lately. Most of the pairs have been down, so I am trading this a little cautiously, but this is pretty impulsive, with the dollar move down, and so I do expect that that we'll get a little bit of more buying here, and maybe broach this trend line one more time. So keep an eye on that one, but you can see I'm in that trade right now. And Swiss yen, let's see. Swiss yen, this is not a pair I really trade very often, but I do watch it. And again, on the daily chart, these are just patterns I really love to see. And again, this to me looks like an end of a trend. We had a 1, 2, probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we've broken through. And so I would expect to see a pretty significant correction in this market. And we did break through. We came back up, retested it, and this was the last candle before the market closed on Friday, which is always very exaggerated as people square up before the market closes, and in anticipation of not wanting to be carrying trades over the weekend. So I would expect that this will continue down, so I will be looking for selling opportunities in this pair. Although I don't think I would sell it right now. I'd probably wait for a retracement, and then I'd look to get in short. So that's something to look forward to. Euro Swiss, same thing. The euro has been under a little bit more pressure again. So we had this close below this trend line. This is the 4-hour chart. You can see it on the daily chart too. And again, I look at this as potentially a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from an Elliott Wave standpoint. And then we've broken through, came back up, retested again, and so this looks very corrective. So I certainly would expect this to continue down. The daily chart looks pretty bearish. The pair was down, and I basically look at this as potentially an ABC correction, and we could have a substantial move back to the downside. I didn't measure this, but I guess we could do this while I'm sitting here. So that's about 290 pips from that move to the upside, and this is about 250 or so. So it's not quite even in terms of an ABC correction, but the fact that it's shorter than this leg here gives me a pretty decent confidence that this will continue down, and that we had a close well below this trend line, and we came back up and retested it and went down again, and we retested again. And we've had a couple more tries, and it just keeps failing. So I would expect that will continue to come down. So that's another one you might be able to look. On the flip side, we've got the euro yen, and so this is where it gives me a little bit of conflict in terms of where the euro is going. Now here it is zoomed out on the daily chart, and you can see we were respecting this trend line and down, but now we've broken through. And again, this is the daily chart. And to me, this still looks like potentially a wave 4. So I actually might consider getting into this pair long, depending what happens with this move down. We may come down and retest this trend line, or it might come a little bit short of that. And then if that happens, I might look for another move back to the upside. And that this is potentially a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this wave 1 down here is about 235 pips. If we come down to the trend line and move back up, that's almost the same, 235. So I could potentially be looking for a long on the euro yen, which could give me a little bit of a heartburn with looking at the euro yen, the euro Swiss being short. But the Swiss is a completely different animal than the yen, and so they don't all necessarily move together. And I think a lot of these moves are being driven by the other currency they're paired with, and not the euro. I don't think the euro really is doing all that much right now. And because that leads me to the next one, which is euro dollar. And you can see I'm in a trade here, and I'm in long. And basically this is the daily chart. Now I'm not convinced that this downtrend is over yet, but I do think we will see a move back up here, at least back to this area. I don't have a take profit set on this right now, but from where it is now, I would expect it maybe to get back up into this range. So I would say it's probably, if I'm right, it's got probably at least 100 pips to go before any downtrend continues. So I'm looking, here back on the 4-hour chart, that this will continue to the upside. So we had a little bit of selling right before the close of the market, some resistance here, but I would expect this is going to continue up. I also did look at this as an ABC correction, move up, ABC, and now we'll go up. And again, at least back up to here. So again, a little bit of conflict with the euro pairs, but I'm fairly confident that this will continue, at least for the time being. So, and then off to the Euro Aussie, and I'm short this one. So again, you can see, I have one long, one short, one long, one short, and a little bit of conflict. But here we are in the Euro Aussie, and again, we had this trend line up, which we clearly broke. This is the weekly chart. It's obviously a very long time frame. We went up, and now we've broken through, and now we're back up retesting that trend line. Back to the daily here, you can see several little attempts to poke through, and they all keep failing. And had this big long wick here, so I'm currently short this one. Makes me a little bit nervous because we did have pretty impulsive candles up here, but I'm gonna hold it. I have a pretty close stop loss here, so this is on the 1-hour chart, and again, it doesn't, the moves down don't really impress me very much. So I'm not really convinced about this one, but for now I'm short. I'm in a small profit, and if it does turn back up, I have a pretty close stop loss. So, but again, a lot of conflicts in the Euro Aussie. Now, but I will tell you, part of the other reason why I'm shorting this one, because if you go to the Aussie dollar, I'm long in this one. So of course it's the, should potentially moving opposite of the Euro Aussie. And on the Aussie dollar, here on the daily chart, you can see we were respecting this trend line, and then this last low did not make a new low. This one came down, tagged this trend line. This one did not, and then we had this impulsive move up, and so I am currently long in this. As you can see, I waited for some for some move back up here, and I am expecting that this will continue up because again, I looked at this as an ABC correction, kind of an Elliot Wave ABC correction, and I'm expecting this to continue up. So you can see I got a pretty close stop loss on this one too. But again, this looks like an ABC correction, and because we did not make a new low here when we came back down, these lows are clearly lower than these, so just tells me that at least for now the selling is running out of a little bit of steam. So I did take the long, and we'll see what happens. So that's those, and I think those are really the main ones I want to show. Let's take a quick look at the news calendar for next week. That's this week that just passed. Here we are into next week. And again, guys, summer, not particularly exciting. Moves tend to be maybe either exaggerated, and when they're not exaggerated, the market tends to be a little boring. There's a lot of vacations, and just the volume, it tends to be thinner in the summer. But we do have some pretty important Aussie news, CPI on Tuesday night here in the New York time zone. This is a very important one to watch, so I will be, if I'm still in any Aussie trades, I'll be looking at those patterns. And then on Thursday morning, we have some pretty important Euro news, refinancing rate, and the ECB press conference, which is always going to be wild with Mario Draghi. And then we have GDP on Friday morning for the US dollar. So those are the kind of the fundamental highlights next week. Of course, you always have to keep track of what's going on in the in the on the news wires, such as the G20 meetings and anything else that might come up about Brexit. There's been a lot in there about Theresa May and what's going on in Britain with the pro and anti-Brexit people fighting. So, but in terms of scheduled news release, there's not a lot. So that's why it's important to watch the news wires and also just to kind of look at some of your technical setups. And but I never lose sight of the fundamentals either, as you guys know. But these are the type of things I like to look at, and I do like to keep track of these larger picture patterns on the daily charts, and then zoom down and kind of get a better picture of what's going on. So, and again, here we are in Aussie dollar again. But again, this move is when the market closed. Not surprising. We may actually see a little gap lower at the open, but then I expect it to turn back up based on what's happening with the larger picture. So that's it, I think, guys. I just wanted to show you this. A couple of years ago, I went to a website called CompleteCurrencyTrader.com, and this is a currency strength meter that they used to offer. And I don't know if they still offer it for free. It was a free plug-in. It's basically an indicator. And I know you can't see my whole screen here, but basically you've got your 8 major currencies here with different colored lines. You can see a few of them, but the rest of them are cut off on the left side here. And here's the website. It's CompleteCurrencyTrader.com. And this is their currency strength meter. And I don't know if they still offer it, but if they do, this is something really great, and it's free. You can just dump this right on your chart. And I just opened up another chart, and you can actually put it on any chart. And you can. This happens to be on my Aussie Kiwi chart. I don't trade this pair, but if you want to just put it on every chart, well, you can just crunch it down like this and still see your price action, and then the meter down here. But I don't really trade this pair, so I just opened it up, and I can just see a nice clear picture. And what this does, guys, is if you're maybe looking to trade the Aussie long, or let's say this blue line is the US dollar. Let's say you want to trade the US dollar long. Well, and you're on the daily time frame. This is the daily. Then you want to pair it with something that's weak. So the pound is really weak. So buying the US dollar against the British pound, or selling the pound US dollar would be an example. Now, of course, I'm long that pair right now, but that's more of a short-term play, because on the hourly chart, you can see it's just the opposite. Here, look at the US dollar, how weak it is. And that trade that I took is really based off the hourly chart. So, and the pound is strengthening against it. So, but a really good trade in that case would have been to sell the US yen. See how weak the US dollar is and how strong the yen is. And if you go to that chart, let's look at the US yen chart. You can see, how weak it is. So it's just the only reason why I showed you this, guys, is when you're thinking about, if one particular currency you're feeling pretty strong about, based on just the fundamentals of a particular currency, and you want to place a trade, this is a great thing to consider. Make sure you pair it with a currency that's going the opposite way. Because if I took a trade, let's say this is the Australian dollar, and this fuchsia one here is the euro. So if I took the euro Aussie on the 1 hour chart, it's probably not going to be doing very much, because see, they're pretty much the same. So you're just going to get kind of sideways action, and that is actually what's going on. Here's the Aussie, which I showed you this, but you see how sloppy it is. I should take my own advice, right? Now, of course, this can change, because this is an hourly chart. I still think the daily charts are more important, just to get the bigger picture, although I don't necessarily trade off the daily, but it's important to know the bigger picture. So currency strength meter, guys, worth a look. Go to CompleteCurrencyTrader.com and see if they still offer it. I have no idea. I haven't been on the website in a couple of years. This guy also sells a very, very expensive course. That's up to you. It's last time I heard it was like 10 or 12,000 US dollars to buy this course. Just crazy to me. But he was giving away the currency strength meter for free, and all it is an indicator. It's a custom indicator, and you can just drag it right onto any chart. So in MT4, so it doesn't work on any other platform. So and I've got my FX book EA up here too for my FX book feed. That's what this is up here, and you can't see it over here where it's published, but this is for my FX book, and that's the EA that's running for that. So anyways, that's it, guys. Just wanted to show you that in case that's of any interest to you when you decide which pair to take, to understand that one, if you're going to go long, then make sure you're pairing a weak currency against a strong one, and the strong one should be the one you want to go long on, and the weaker, and then pair it against one that's weak, and that really will help propel that pair in the direction that you want to go. So really important to note. Okay, guys, so that's it. Any questions, let me know. Please like the video, please leave comments, please share the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and that's it. And I wish you guys the best of luck, and if there's anything you want to see or hear in particular going forward, please let me know, and I'm happy to make other videos. Alright, guys, have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.